a pleasure to have with us Abhishek Sinha, who is visiting the Institute of South Asian Studies here in Singapore to attend a workshop on the mobile phone in South Asia. Abhishek is involved with a remarkable initiative that uses mobile phones and small shopkeepers to create a banking system. Abhishek, welcome to ICES.
Thanks a lot.
First question, what is EKO, ECO?
Well, ECO is the company which I work for, and I started this company in 2007. And ECO is into branchless banking. So if you look at India, we have just about 40% of the people are banked at this point in time. And so most of the people do not have access to formal financial services.
Okay.
And what ECO does is that it tries to bridge the last mile distribution of financial services in India.
What's your background? How did this idea develop? Out of your experience, life story, etc.?
I have been an entrepreneur for now a little over 8 years. And so I'm an engineer by qualification. And after graduation, I worked as a software engineer in one of the software companies in India for about 2 years, and then I started my first company, which was a telecom software company in 2002. And just like all startups, this was a garage startup. We had pretty much a roller coaster life. And at one point in time, we did not have a choice, but we had to force ourselves to do a mobile commerce application for an operator in Oman. And I guess that was the turning point for me, because we had the opportunity to look at what mobile commerce is. And at that point in time, what was also happening in India is that cell phones was, the adoption of cell phone was increasing a lot. And it was breaching across customer segments. So what came across aloud was that why not mobile commerce for people who do not have bank accounts and who do not have sophisticated cell phones. So that's how the idea came in. And I started ECO in September of 2007. And yeah, so that's a bit of my background and the background of how ECO started.
How does it actually work? Say, for example, I'm a day laborer in Delhi. I've come from a village in Bihar. I earn 200 rupees a day on a good day. How does ECO help me? What do I do?
So for our daily lives, including for that migrant laborer from Bihar who's working in Delhi, for our grocery needs, for our daily needs, we end up going to these small retail shops, either at a grocer or at a pharmacy or at a shop where I can buy my recharge for the prepaid connection I have. And what ECO has done is that we leverage these retailers. So if you look at these retailers, they very effectively distribute absolutely everything from salt to SIM card to the remotest corners in my country. And what we did is that we leveraged this infrastructure and we said, let's try and learn how this infrastructure works, and let's write financial services on top of this retail infrastructure and try and reach financial services absolutely to the last mile. So as a daily laborer, you could walk into an ECO counter, which will have branding of the bank of ECO. You can walk in there and you can fill the bank account opening form. At the shop, the retailer will help you fill the form. He will collect a photograph, your proof of identity, your proof of address, and open a bank account for you in say about 10 to 15 minutes. Once you have opened the bank account, then you could walk into any of these ECO counters across the 2 states we work in, 3 states we work in India, and do deposit, withdrawal and money transfer transactions, and all of these transactions happen absolutely in real time. So really, as a daily laborer, you have 2 fundamental needs. One is that you need a safe place to keep money. The other is that you want to send money back home. So bank account is really like a vault. And so you have gone for your work, you have earned your 200 rupees for the day. You walk into the shop, which is Echo Counter, which is next to your place of work or next to your residence, and deposit your money there. And whenever you want to send money back home, you could go to the same counter and deposit money into your wife's account or your relative's account back in your village. So that's really the service. And all of these transactions absolutely take place in real time.
Sounds easy enough.
It is. It is. We try and absolutely hide the complexity from the customers.
Okay. How has Echo grown? How did you manage to sign up people to begin with? How do you start? How much has it grown?
The journey has been very interesting for us. We now cater to about 500,000 customers across 1,100 retail shops. And out of these 500,000 customers, for over 100,000 we have opened bank accounts, and the rest 400,000 or so come and use the service for money transfer. And we started this in early 2008 with a bank called Centurion Bank of Punjab. That bank got acquired by another bank. Our project got terminated. So as a startup, that was a huge financial setback. Fortunately for us, we signed up with State Bank of India, which is the largest bank in India, in February of 2009. We started working with them. And we then got some grant funding from CGAP and Gates Foundation. So that helped us survive, and we were able to grow the business. And very recently, Echo has raised some equity funding. So now we plan to scale it further and try and get to more geographies in India.
Very impressive.
Thank you.
What is the social significance for you of the mobile phone? In the sense, is it the biggest thing since the printing press, in your opinion?
Well, I'm not sure if it is indeed that comparison, but what we started to see in India is that the cell phone started to evolve as a social identity. And what's very common sight in India these days is that if you are walking past and you have a vacant wall, probably you'll see there written the mobile number, and below that it says pesticides, or it would say plumber or electrician. So clearly it's not the name, it's the cell phone number.
It's the number,
And it is associated with employment, with a job. So certainly cell phone is helping the individual in their earning needs. So we realize that it is evolving as a social identity. The power of cell phone is that it's really a computing device, a low energy computing device, always on, always with you on person. And now it was there with everybody in India. So for Echo, it was really how do we leverage that IT device and enable transactions to happen in real time. Because if I'm a retailer, you come to my shop, you deposit your money, and I say, you know what, you'll get to know your balance after 2 days. That's really not going to work. But because what you experience as a customer when you recharge your prepaid phone is that right then and there you get a text message saying you have recharged your phone by about 100 rupees or so. So we leveraged a lot of these practices and behavior associated with telephony, with prepaid telephony. We adopted these practices. And so when you come to deposit or withdraw money at an Echo counter, you get a notification right then and there. So in Echo, we believe that cell phone has the potential to evolve as a financial identity for an individual. And the belief is that cell phone is going to evolve as the next big payment instrument. So really that's what Echo is chasing, and what we are trying to follow is some of the insights and practices associated with cell phones. So
what happens next to Echo, to these mobile technologies? What's the next horizon? What's the next new thing?
Well, if you look at it from the point of view of Echo, I think we are in a business which needs to be financially sustainable and profitable over a period of time. And clearly it's a wafer thin margin business in India. So it's a volume game for us. which means that Echo must try and get to about 100,000 retailers and about 2 million customers as soon as possible, because that's the threshold which will lead Echo towards profitability. And we have picked up some funding right now. We are trying to expand services. We are trying to get more services for the customers. So what happens is that now a bank account starts to occupy shelf space next to a shampoo bottle, next to a SIM card, or next to a stack of medicine. And what we're trying to do is really bring in insurance products, bring in products like recurring deposit, fixed deposit, and help the customer move up the value chain of banking.
So moving beyond simple savings, remittance to insurance and fixed deposits.
Absolutely.
Abhishek Sinha, thank you so much for your time. And on behalf of ICIS, I'd like to thank you.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you.